The internet can be a very interesting place, and it brings out the extremes, both good and bad. You know, someone doesn't just like donuts, they love donuts. Someone just doesn't care for mustard, they hate mustard. Similarly, on the video I did a week or so ago about one method of changing guitar strings, specifically on a through-hole tuner like you'd find on a Gibson, some very experienced techs said, hey, I have not found that loop that you do is necessary. Others have said things like, oh, I hate people who do that. People who do that should be shot. And as I said in the previous video, that was one method that I was taught by a very good luthier a long time ago. And it has worked well for me. It is also the same method that PRS puts in their videos and that Taylor Guitars puts in their videos. And I looked at those videos, and they're not getting the comments saying, what kind of idiot does this? I hate people who do this. But if a lot of very experienced techs have posted in the comments on my video saying that loop that I did is not necessary, and you can see the previous video to see the loop on the unwound strings, then I will try it sans loop. So, sans loop. This is my Les Paul, and these are some D'Addario NYXL 10 through 46, and the 3 wound strings are done just as I did on the previous video, so 1 over, 1 or 2 under, 1.5 or 2 under, and on the plain strings I'm not going to do the loop. I'm just going to do a wrap, 1 over, the others under. I'm going to go back about 2 frets on this high E, and I'll start winding, keeping pressure with my left finger there so that I go over on the first pass. And now, before I have immense tension on there, I want to tug this way and go up and then wind below. What a fascinating video this is. String winding is awesome, isn't it? But, just try to keep even pressure and make sure as you get tighter that the string is sitting where it should be in the saddle. And on these higher strings, the unwound thinner strings, I want to make sure I don't have any slack in there as I go, and that the wraps are even and not going on top of each other. I'll turn on the little tuner here, little clip-on TC thing. That brings it to pitch, but now I want to do a gentle stretch along the entire length of that string. It's not necessary to bring it pitched right now. You can bring it close enough, then move to the next strings, but I like to do preliminary stretching at this point. All right, let me pull this straight up, snip off the excess, and let's take a look at what we've done here. So I have 1 up, 4 down. They're nice, even wraps. They're not scattering over each other. There's nothing in there to slip or bind. Let me do the other strings and see how this thing holds tune. All right, all 6 strings are on. The wound strings have 1 up and 1.5 to 2 wraps down. And the plain strings have 1 up and 3 and 4 wraps down. This is after the first round of stretching. Everything seems to be holding pretty well. Need to do some more stretching. As to whether these will hold tune as well as the loop, I will report back after using this a couple days or maybe a week. But some very experienced guitar techs said that this works just fine for them. And if so, that makes changing strings even easier. On most of my guitars, I have locking tuners. The other thing which was kind of strange to me was in the comments on that other video, which was specifically about through-hole posts on a Gibson-style guitar There are a lot of people like, well, what about on a Strat? What about on split tuners? That video wasn't for that. Maybe I'll do one on those kinds of tuners later. And other people commented, just use locking tuners, har, 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 LOL, etc., etc. Dude, grow up. It's a video on how to use traditional tuners. Don't tell people they have to change their tuners. I have locking tuners on most of my guitars, but they're not necessary on a Les Paul. They're just not.